Welcome back to the Milo Yiannopoulos show. I have the first ever return guest, and of course, it is the Queen herself, Ann Coulter. Thank you for coming back to the show.
Oh my gosh, I love doing your podcast. This is the only place,
nice.
This one tiny little corner of the world where Anne gets to be the voice of reason.
I'm not sure that's true.
Don't go too far, Milo.
I do seem to remember there was a penis thing and there was a Trump tweet thing last time we were on. Actually, no, I'm sorry, you're right. You were the voice of reason.
And the media, in its inimitable style, absolutely horribly lied about that podcast. I mean, to remind
they did.
Milo listeners, we are both huge, massive Trump fans.
Huge, gigantic,
Huge.
Could not be more into daddy. Although you hate that, I know. You hate me calling him daddy.
We were laughing. I had a small little constructive criticism because I'm not a cruise bot. I can criticize things. My guy does.
And the way you phrased it was, our candidate might be mental.
Right, and it was our candidate.
No, it was.
And we were laughing.
We were laughing.
And they lifted the mental part, and I saw people repeating back to me.
Ann Coulter thinks Trump is mental.
No, it was more having doubts about Trump, even his fans turning against him. No, play the podcast. I'm laughing. I'm talking about him as our candidate, this teeny tiny constructive criticism, which, by the way, I subsequently took back.
Well, let's talk about that teeny tiny bit of constructive criticism. Because this is, correct me if I'm wrong, we were talking about this in the car, I think this is the only thing we've ever disagreed on.
Yes.
And it was because you felt at the time that Trump retweeting a picture of Ted Cruz's wife and his own wife
was loutish,
was low rent,
yes.
was crass.
Yes.
All the things that people love about Donald Trump. You've softened your position, shall we say?
Well, it was after the Manafort and Co. team moved in and he won the New York primary. Our hero, Donald Trump, and he gave such a subdued, boring victory speech. And I just thought, and also, actually, and I've taken also this other criticism back of him, though I didn't make this one publicly, but when he was asked to respond to the transgender bathrooms, he did the classic politicians thing, which is actually good sometimes, where you don't give an answer. You just repeat the problem.
Yes.
And that's what he did. And I thought, you know, what we love about you is being politically incorrect. People do not like transgender bathrooms. I promise you, I know liberal men, if they have daughters, little girls they have to go shopping with, they don't want to have to send them into, a department store bathroom alone.
Why are we forced to lie about this?
And I thought, oh my gosh, the consultants, the moment I've been dreading, they've got a hold of him. Yeah. And so at that moment I tweeted, we want the old Trump back. Come on, brag about your penis. Tweet out ugly photos of your opponent's wife. I was wrong.
Okay, good. Well, I'm going to tell, really my only aspiration in life is to prove you wrong about something. Then I can die happy. So I'm looking for a razor blade right now. But I was kind of with you on the transgender thing because it's so out of character for him not to speak his mind and speak plainly. But I'm mystified by this. Liberals have made us take like a moral position on a medical issue.
Right.
And to lie about it. Like,
right.
Nobody believes Caitlyn Jenner is a woman.
Right.
Not the people writing the stories. Not the people calling her stunning and brave on E! Entertainment television. Not any of the readers at home. Nobody believes that.
And certainly none of us who grew up seeing him on the cover of Wheaties boxes.
I was on a chat show in the UK once with this very nice lady, and she said, I've worn the male garb and I've worn the female garb, and let me tell you, men don't know they're born. People look at me so strangely now. And I took every ounce of my self-control, every little bit of what little remains of my maturity, not to say they'd look at you strange because you're a man in a dress.
Yes.
Anyway, it's
always funny.
There we go. Well, that's Media Matters and everybody else. You've got the tranny section you're waiting for.
On the one point that I'm claiming I conceded to you on, I do think it would be better if he did not send out loutish, lowbrow tweets. But
we don't agree on this.
One must take the bitter with the sweet. The rough with the smooth. And if my choice is consultant created candidate talking nonsense or the guy who's going to build the wall, giving us really an unfiltered view of his brain with those tweets and retweets, which we've never seen before.
Don't you love that? You have this direct, ready access into Donald Trump's mind, and sometimes it's terrifying, and other times it's wonderful because
it's 90% fantastic. I mean,
so
the retweet that we argued about last time, it's such a minor thing, which brings us to the recent retweet, and oh, come on, give me a break. This is people who don't understand Twitter. It's a retweet, and I'm sorry, Twitter shuts down if I have to investigate the genesis of everything. I tap a little button to retweet this one thing on. And by the way, after the I have a great one for you. After this whole brouhaha over the retweet of the unattractive photo of Heidi Cruz, so I was doing some TV show. I'm sitting in the makeup chair, girl doing my makeup, totally covered with tattoos, totally not into politics at all, and I'm chit-chatting with her. I may have just come from your podcast or something, but I mentioned this retweet, and I said, well, it was just, a silly retweet, but it's not. And she says to me, wait, it was a retweet. Those don't count. And I thought, yes, the voice of the people. It's a retweet.
But most people at home understand this. It's only the media which is not populated by sensible adults. Like we meet when we're out in the real world, it's populated by children.
Yeah.
And children take things out of context because they don't understand anything that's happening around them.
That's a good point.
And they're looking, it's like they're looking for an excuse to have a go at mom or whatever it is.
Right.
They don't understand context. They don't understand, any of the things that nuances and shades and subtleties of meaning. And they twist, things to make babyish points, to persuade people they should be allowed to stay out late.
Right.
That's the media. That's what journalists do.
Yeah, at least when it comes to Republicans, though, they are all forgiving of.
Yes. Of the other candidate,
yes,
which we will talk about in the second half.
And the other thing about that alleged Star of David anti-Semitic, I saw it. It's just a star. It looks like a used ad.
Wouldn't even have occurred to me.
Sale this weekend, 4th of July sale.
Do people go into malls? I mean, is this what? Because this is not what I'm like. Is this what other journalists are like? Do they walk down malls looking for stars that are a particular 6-point star and go into and ask the manager, how dare you associate this geometric pattern with anything to do with money or corruption? You're an anti-Semite and I'm boycotting your store.
Because without the crosses in the middle, if you don't see it drawn as two triangles, it doesn't
it's
really...
Just a star.
It's just a
this is
like starburst.
This is the great thing about Trump. He lives in so many people's heads rent-free. This is how you know that the level of control he exerts over people, whether it is tweeting, I love Hispanics with the taco bowl.
Oh, that was my favorite.
And BuzzFeed calling up Trump Tower just to check that they really do sell those, and of course they do.
That was my favorite.
That's how much control he has over these idiots, you know? And this one is like, what kind of a mind? What is going on in your head when you see this and you're like, is that yes, it's a Star of David, we can get him on this,
right?
And it's like, and MSNBC, of course, are opening, because people are saying, oh, it's just clip art, just pull it. So MSNBC on television, this is a news network, has got screenshots of what happens when you click the clip art button in Microsoft Office, because they want to know if Trump's campaign is telling the truth about how they got the star on there.
Grief.
This is, it's funny, but it's sad, isn't it?
Well, also they tried to say, yes, but it actually did come from an anti-Semitic, or as they're calling it, alt-right group. But two things. One is the guy himself who tweeted it immediately changed it to a circle. Now, I don't know any Nazis, but my guess is they do not... Oh my gosh, you caught me. I'm changing it to a... No, they'd say, yeah, you're damn right, that's a Star of David.
I think they might.
That suggests to me he was not anti-Semitic. And the final nail in their coffin, in my opinion, is, according to the New York Times, and I couldn't really get back to what they're claiming this originally came from and the other things he tweeted. I couldn't find out either. But according to the New York Times itself, not the pro-Trump organ, they claimed it was alt-right, if you eventually traced it back, which we do not do when we retweet. We are not vowing for the genealogy, everything, anything.
It's not sort of an etymological statement,
One retweet. That's all I'm retweeting. I don't know who did it. He killed his mother. All I'm retweeting is this tweet. But according to the New York Times' own description of it was that he was alt-right, get this, because on the page it eventually went back to, there were violently hostile remarks about, I quote, aliens, refugees, and Muslims. I.e., the American people.
Yes.
Everyone except you freak dogs in the media who want to keep bringing in people who want to kill us.
I see. And this is violent remarks could be the subject of a whole podcast, that expression.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly what I said to one of my friends.
Violent remarks.
I was quoting from the New York Times saying, I don't know what a violent comment is.
No, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. It's like these students I have this college tour right now, and these students are saying that I am a threat to their safety. And they say physical safety. I'm like, am I coming down with a baseball bat? What am I doing? Because I'm just casting my mind back, and I'm like, no, I think I'm showing up in police fetish gear with a pink penis water bottle to talk about Black Lives Matter. Pretty sure I didn't show up with guns and baseball bats.
No, they're coming at us with baseball bats.
Oh, I know. Well, they're the ones assaulting people at Trump rallies.
And you're a large male. I've been doing these college speeches forever.
Not
I
that
have
big.
to travel.
I mean, tall, not large. Yeah, no, you do. Well, I'm going to Sweden. Did I tell you about this?
No. Oh, yes. Wait, you didn't, but I've heard about this.
Yeah.
Proceed.
No, I'm going to Sweden to, I always thought gay pride was about, you have lots of gay fans.
About this.
Lots of gay fans, which we'll come to again in the second half. I always thought gay pride was about marching defiantly through socially conservative, areas with regressive social attitudes. Well, what is that in the West today? It's Muslim ghettos where they, want to kill gays and make women dress in towels and whatever.
Right.
And so I'm going to go to Sweden, and this is a country a year ago in which the government told gay pride they were being needlessly provocative for marching through the Muslim area. Needlessly provocative. It's gay pride.
Yeah.
So I'm going to lead a gay pride march through the Muslim ghetto in Stockholm at the end of this month. So if you enjoy this show and my columns, enjoy them for the rest of July, because they may not be around in August.
Okay, just seriously be careful.
No, so
I want you to wear a bulletproof vest. You need a SWAT team.
I want to be on a horse. I want to be on horseback when I go. But
naked? No, you would know. I do not want
Lady
you dying.
Godiva style. Not naked. I'm going to go naked. But I want to be on horseback. Game of Thrones style. I want to march in with like standards, and flags, and just take it.
I don't want anything to happen to you. You try.
This is. It's just the three of us, three brave, intrepid blondes saving America.
You know what? You got a lot of heterosexual men who are going to come protect you.
It's true. There's a bodybuilder called the Golden One on YouTube who is this ridiculously jacked guy with this huge head of Swedish blonde hair, and he's been like, "Yep, I'll come down."
Good,
so,
yeah.
no, it's going to be fine.
And fraternity boys across the country.
Well, frat boys love me.
Milo's the coolest thing going. Who would have thunk?
All of these. Oh, that would be all of these reactionary, homophobic, backward, athletic, awful people. They're all showing up to watch Christine Hoff Sommers and you and me, and it's like. Anyway, let's get back to Daddy, or Trump, as you prefer that I call him.
Thank you.
She doesn't like it when I call him Daddy. She hated it last time. She still hates it.
Yes, as I said, it's gay.
And not gay in the homosexual way, because that's fine. It's just gay.
Yes.
It's gay as we mean it in the playground, meaning lame, crap, rubbish, Hillary supporting, immigrant loving, gay. We've got to reclaim this word. It's such a good word.
I know.
It's such a good word. It's better than queer. It's better than fag. Like gay.
Yeah.
Stop being gay.
Yeah. There really is no good substitute.
No. Well, listen.
Dork
I'm giving you a
quite right.
No, I'm giving you a lifetime fag pass. So you can. If you ever get in trouble for calling something gay, you come to me. I'll set them right. Okay.
Good. Can we go back? Because
Yes.
It's happened my whole life.
Yeah, wait, retroactive fag pass. It's fine. She's cool, all right? If you're listening and you're getting offended, she's cool. Okay, Trump. Give us your assessment of the state of play, because we all, I think, want to see the America that you, me, and some of the listeners want to see the America that he's going to build. Strong borders, fixed trade, end to political correctness. The effects of Donald Trump's candidacy have already been viewed, I think, for many people. Embolden people to speak more plainly and more honestly about immigration, which, as you say in Adios America, your last book, is really the issue from which all others flow.
Yes.
It's like sort of Aristotelian ultimate virtue. Everything else comes from that,
Yes, exactly.
Give me your assessment of how the campaign's going. What you're thinking about him at the moment. Are you still optimistic he's going to win? Is there anything you'd like him to change? Because last time you wanted him to grow up a little bit and spawn up a little bit.
Oh, on that one little thing.
On that one little thing. So tell me, are you happy with Daddy's progress?
Yes. I always thought, from 2 weeks after he announced, and it took me 2 weeks because Man, we've been betrayed a lot on immigration, and I was waiting for him to back down with everyone screaming bloody murder.
Right.
But I mean, he was saying the right things. I was just waiting. He's going to back down. He's going to back down. And I kept emailing. It actually went on for probably the first 6 months of his campaign. I kept emailing his guy, Corey, saying there would be like 1 point that I thought he should make. And then the second point was always, don't let him back down on immigration. And after a few months, Corey finally said, do you believe me now?
He's not going to back down on immigration. Get it?
But by 2 weeks in, when I saw he wasn't backing down, not at all, he was doubling down. I thought, no, he's definitely winning the nomination. I'd put that at 90%. And right now, I think it's more likely than not that he becomes president. But I don't know if I'd put a number on it, but say 60%. But 40% is still a lot. I mean, we're going to work for it like we think he's going to win because it's the last hope and there's no point to politics. I mean, as we were talking about before, Fox News and other conservative, like talk radio hosts, they think they make more money when a Democrat is in office. But this is
something that I've wondered about, because you look at commentators who have kind of gone all in on the never Trump thing.
Right.
And what I'm thinking to myself is, okay, there's one option, which is that they're simply principled conservatives who would rather go down with the ship so long as they don't compromise their beliefs. And then I meet them and realize that can't be it.
Not a chance.
And the second option is, do they just think it's good for business to have Hillary as president?
Some do. I'd say there are two camps. One are the people who make money in Washington. Washington is like there's something in the water now. Their entire raison d'etre, their lives, their livelihoods have been proved irrelevant by Trump. I talk about this in my next book, In Trump We Trust.
And the subtitle you have to share.
E pluribus awesome.
E pluribus awesome. Trump We Trust. E pluribus awesome.
Out August 23rd.
August 23rd.
So there's that crowd, the Washington crowd, but the mistake they're making is the idea that they think there's going to be a functioning Republican Party if they take Trump down, because if Trump loses, there is one group of people who are going to be blamed, and that is the establishment Republicans,
Correct.
The never Trump crowd.
That's half the party gone, isn't it? They'll never vote for the Republicans
again. They will never get that Trump vote. It's the end of the Republican Party, and I think it's the end of the country anyway if Hillary gets elected. You have Paul Ryan as the speaker. You have Hillary pushing amnesty. Right now, presidential elections are decided by a few million votes. They're going to have 30 million new voters. That's it. Yeah. And as for the talk radio hosts of the Fox News who think, oh, people love to watch when we're bashing the Democrats. No, you have to win once in a while. I mean, people will go and root for the Mets and keep rooting for the Mets, but if they keep losing, the stadiums are empty.
Eventually people get bored of watching the team lose.
All we're going to do is lose. That's not a fun thing to watch.
And conservatives in America have been losing for quite some time.
Yes.
I mean, they've been losing a lot recently.
Since, I'd say, early in the Bush term. He barely won re-election. Yeah. We got wiped out in the 2006 election over what issue? Amnesty. Yeah. Lost the 2000 presidential election over what issue? Amnesty. 2010, okay, there's an enthusiastic comeback, but actually we didn't do very well in 2010 because of those crazy Tea Party candidates instead of a responsible GOP raising issues that people care about. 2012, obviously a horrible, depressing blowout. I mean, I kind of thought Romney losing was the end of the country, but I never counted on Trump coming along.
Well, on that lovely optimistic note, we're going to go to break and return to a more depressing subject, a less happy thing to imagine.
Big ankles?
Not cankles, no. Oh. We're going to return to the subject of Hillary Clinton.
That's Big Ankles!
Oh, is that what you call her? Oh, I thought that was Loretta Lynch.
Well, I don't call her that. I was just guessing the direction.
Oh, I see. I saw somebody on Twitter with a picture of Loretta Lynch saying, lady, you could put a piano on those legs.
They have the same legs. I thought the same thing. Oh my gosh, what is it with Democrat women?
Maybe that's what they bond over. Who knows? All right. See you after the break. Are you a dork, a geek, a nerd, a basement dweller with yellowing underpants? Me too. Not many of my fans know this, but I am a huge fan of science fiction. I like to keep it on the quiet, but I am a secret Trekkie, and I do love... I like Star Trek Voyager, and I don't care who knows about it, and I don't care what anybody says, but I love Janeway. She's the best captain in Star Trek history. Anyway, if you too have a secret science fiction addiction, or even a not secret science fiction addiction, you might like to investigate the monthly subscription plan from Loot Crate. Loot Crate is this thing where basically you get like a bunch of stuff through the mail and you never know what you're going to get. You just sort of pay like it's less than $20 a month, and then they just send you like loads of stuff, like from Harry Potter, Marvel Comics, Fallout 4 if you're into video games, Star Wars, and a bunch more stuff. Loot Crate is a monthly subscription box service for epic geek and gamer items and pop culture gear, and for less than $20 a month you get 68 items that include licensed gear, apparel, collectibles, unique one-of-a-kind items, and a lot more. It's like being showered with gifts in the way that I am with my boyfriends. Instead, it's only once a month, but still, you will get presents all the time, and you won't even know what's coming, and that's exciting. That's Loot Crate, so you should look them up.
Make sure to head to lootcrate.com/Milo and enter code MILO to save $3 on any new subscription.
I don't drive in America, of course, because you drive on the wrong side of the road, your cars are too big, and the traffic in Los Angeles is frankly terrifying. And even if I did feel moved to drive, of course, my chauffeur would feel very put out at being out of a job. So I like to sit in the back of cars, but I like to sit in the back of nice cars, and I may well buy a car soon here in Los Angeles. It will, of course, be hideously expensive and contain every outrageous and completely unnecessary feature available. But if you are poor and you need a second-hand car, a used car, you might like to go to True Car. Your personality and fashion sense are going to make much more of an impression on most people than your car ever will. So why spend tens of thousands on a fancy car when you can make just as much of an impression stepping out of your used Toyota in Gucci sunglasses and a three-piece Savile Row suit? Pricing information is important, but there's more to buying a car than just price. There's the actual buying experience. And to enjoy a better one, you have to go to a True Car certified dealer. They're there to help you find the car you want, and they are what makes True Car unique. With True Car, you can connect with a local certified dealer of your choosing to lock in guaranteed savings off the MSRP, that's the manufacturer's suggested retail price, and enjoy a better buying experience at the same time. True Car customers are more likely to enjoy a faster buying process when they connect with True Car certified dealers. Over 2 million cars have been sold to True Car users by the True Car certified dealer network, and there are over 11,000 True Car certified dealers nationwide. You will work directly with a True Car certified dealer contact, and True Car users save an average of $3,279 off the MSRP. By using the True Car website or the True Car app, you can easily find the car you want. So when you're ready to buy, visit TrueCar.com or download the True Car app to enjoy a better car buying experience. Some features are not available in all states. It's the podcast with political analysis as rigorous as my daily hair care routine. Welcome back to the Milo Yiannopoulos Show on Podcast 1. Oh, the last thing I have to tell you is an apology. I am a useless, sappy, blonde, gay idiot, and I think I dislodged a connection in my microphone setup in the second half of the interview with Coulter, which you're going to hear in a moment. So my voice changes somewhat, and I beg your indulgence and forgiveness for that, because we had to do some wizardry with the sound levels. The last 10 minutes of the Coulter interview, my questions are a little quiet and sound a little different. But bear with us, because it's a wonderful interview. She is, of course, Queen, Goddess, Queen of all conservative media. You've been listening to the Milo Yiannopoulos Show. Let's get back to it. And we're back. And you gave Hillary Clinton a horrible nickname, which we will not repeat. But
it's not a nickname, and I don't mean to make fun of her for a physical defect. And it's not that her ankles are fat. Her legs are just on upside down.
Oh, dear. Right. No, I think that's probably fair. Yeah. I would like to talk to you, though, about, I mean, you've dropped a bombshell on us, Anne. You said Daddy's only got a 60% chance. So that means there's a 6% chance of winning. That means there's a 40% chance of President Clinton, the second one, and all of the horrendous things that go with that.
Yeah.
Tell us what a Hillary presidency would look like. Because, we were talking about these never Trump guys, the GOP guys, the money men, and my guess is they think it's going to be good business having a Democrat in the White House. And I thought that for a while. I thought, oh my God, my college show is going to be so popular. People are going to be even more crazy about political correctness, all this kind of stuff. And then I realized, no, actually, most of what I say will be illegal in 6 months. And I won't be able to speak as freely in America as I can in Europe, and I'll have to go back.
Yes.
They have to send me back. Now we've got Brexit in London.
We'll be coming with you.
Yes. Well, look, there'll always be a spare room for you in my house in London. Don't Don't worry. And Coulter, refugee from the United States. Adios, England.
No, it's really true. I mean, it's very sad. I have, I usually don't wear it because it jangles too much, but I have a necklace with a charm for each one of the patriots that I'm directly descended from who fought in the Revolutionary War. 9 of them, which is quite a lot.
That is a lot.
I'm uber patriotic American, but it's not going to be America anymore. We aren't. I mean, this.
Do you really think it's the end of the country if she wins?
Yeah. I mean, it's like I remember, and my friends were wondering why I was so depressed after McCain won the Florida primary, and it was because I anticipated it goes to California after that. McCain would win in California because you get the momentum thing. It would be McCain. It's one thing if I'm in a plane and the plane is crashing. Okay, I have 5 minutes. I'll say my prayers. That's the end. Mm-hmm. This is, the plane is crashing and it's going to take a year.
Right.
And you're just going to be sitting there watching the ground get closer and closer and knowing there is absolutely no hope. I mean, we come from, and this is all described.
I warned you it was going to be depressing.
In Adios America, we have and somewhat in my new Trump book, we, thanks to your country, Great Britain, we have, this 1,000-year political history from the Magna Carta to the Glorious Revolution to the Declaration of Independence, these concepts that have been built up like freedom of speech, like equality before the law, not warring ethnic factions.
Well, this is the minority wars the left has kicked off,
yes,
which Hillary's clearly going to perpetuate by pandering to Black Lives Matter. That the typical kind of establishment institution, whiny third-wave feminism, which is effectively outlawing being male at this point. If you're on a college campus and you're a boy, you're in trouble.
And a white heterosexual male, you're dead.
Straight white male, you may as well quit college because you're not going to have fun. If you can keep your head down in a subject like I don't know, engineering or maths or something where women don't tend to stick around and drop out, then you might be okay. But otherwise, it's not happy. So I asked you this on the last show, and you said that a Hillary presidency would be a bad thing. But now you really believe it's going to be the end of America.
Yeah, I mean, there will be an entity called United States of America, but look at California, where we are right now. Is California the state that produces Republican presidents like Nixon and Reagan? Does it give it's the Beach Boys and the Mamas and the Papas? I mean, it was the surfing. It was the middle-class capital of the world. That was what was always so great about California. Now California is what this country will be. It's great for the very rich, and everybody else is poor.
Yeah.
And they're the servants. They serve the rich.
Great for the very rich and for people who come in from other countries to serve them. Yeah,
without Hollywood and Silicon Valley, other than the physical beauty of California, it would be, a poor slum of Mexico.
It's interesting that you mentioned culture with the Beach Boys and surfing, because it strikes me that one of Hillary's biggest constituencies, and this has always mystified me, and I guess all it proves is that gays can be as dumb as everybody else. Why do gays vote for Hillary Clinton?
Oh, I know.
It's like, maybe I haven't been in America long enough. I don't get why blacks always vote for Hillary Clinton either, why they love her so much, because she seems not to have particularly very much to say to or about them or for them at all. I mean, fine, Obama's been a disaster for race relations, but Hillary doesn't strike me as somebody who would do markedly better at that. So I never understood that. Maybe you could tell me. But the gays for Hillary, what is it about? Like, why do they do it? Well,
I do have one theory, although the numbers suggest that I could be wrong on this, but I've always thought they're the real gays and the fake gays. Because if you're a real gay,
if you're a fag as opposed to being gay,
by real gay, what I mean is you want to have sex with men.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Yes.
Whereas I think there's this other group, and it could have been, in fact, you were saying something similar to it, but mine is slightly different in the car. You could have been cutting yourself. You could have been, joining the Communist Party. You just hate your father, hate civilization, hate America, and this is the way to really piss off Dad.
Well, they're kind of the male equivalent of coal burners, right? They're the male equivalent of the girl who brings home the black boyfriend to piss off her mom and dad.
Coal-burners! You just introduced that new term.
I don't know. By the way,
this is a British term.
I think it must be. I have no idea if it's considered racist by the language police. So I would encourage listeners not to repeat it.
I have no idea. Is considered a racist.
This is why I don't care what
Trump
I say on this show.
Trump said the blacks once, and they're hysterical.
The blacks.
Is racist. So yes.
What? Did anybody produce a single black person who was offended by that? Because I didn't see one on television.
No.
It's like they want to change the names of like the Washington Redskins.
Right. Of course Indians love it.
90% of Native Americans think it's fine.
It's macho.
It's not just that, but it's celebrating their culture. You know?
As strong macho warriors.
Cultural
There's a reason
appropriation.
We're not calling football teams the Jewish accountants, the New Canaan candy stripers,
the pansies, or the or the hummingbirds.
Right.
You know, no, it's the Redskins. It's cool. It's hot. You know.
Oh, and similar to that point, this I didn't know who he was, but this black actor who just spoke at the BET Awards denouncing white
Jesse
people.
Something.
He has
Jesse
a Swedish
something.
mother.
Yeah, of course he does. Of course he
As
does.
I wrote in Mugged, it's always the black person with the least amount of black
in
blood who's angriest at the anti-racism meetings.
Of course. Well, it's Sean King, the Black Lives Matter activist that I exposed as a white guy.
Yes.
You know, 'cause and his explanation, of course, this is how you know he's not black, was to throw his mum under the bus and say that she was a whore and his dad wasn't his dad. You know, it's like no black kid would dare do that. You know, that's how you know.
Point.
That's how you know he wasn't black. Because
you are right.
No black kid would dare basically go to the press and say, "Oh, my mum slept around." Like, can you imagine that? Can you imagine what would happen when he got home? That did not happen. That's how you know Sean King is white. If you don't believe that, if you don't believe it, you want DNA results. Well, that's more conclusive in my view. Anyway, let's get back to homosexuals.
And by the way, listeners, this is how conversations with gays always go. We start off, topic sentence, Hillary, and within 30 seconds, we've segued into gays. We're talking about comparing beaches, a travelogue, and within 30 seconds, we're talking about the gays. Okay, go ahead.
God.
So that's my theory. The fake gays support Hillary.
Yeah.
The real gays, because I wrote in one of my books, I think it's, wait.
With 11 New York Times bestsellers under your belt, it must be difficult sometimes to remember
If Democrats
passages.
had any brains, they'd be Republicans.
Republicans,
I have a chapter on gays, no gay left behind. And I make the argument in there, if you go issue by issue, I mean, the Democratic Party is a party of women. It is a party for, by, and about, especially single women. We're going to give you child care.
Unhappy 35-year-old women.
Yeah, the government will be
the husband. Will be the husband. Yeah, they're
husband.
Replacing men.
Right.
Because they can't get a man, because
What do
feminism has told them you can
gay
be
men
fat
get out
and
of this?
horrendous out of... No.
They're the party of choice. They're the party of promoting Muslims and bringing more... There's
Obviously.
nothing. You go down the line. Taxes. Gays are the demographic with the highest income.
Obviously, gays are natural libertarians. They should want a minuscule...
Not libertarians. Conservative Republicans. Libertarians only care about smoking pot.
Well, maybe weed, Bitcoin, and hacking. Maybe we disagree on something else. This would be exciting.
Well, I'm a real libertarian, which is why I don't call myself a libertarian, because the
libertarians are
movement libertarians
losers
are losers.
Are losers. They are losers.
Thank
Sorry,
you. Okay,
Liz.
so we
I know I have a... No, we do. Yeah, we do. Fine. Establishment... Conservative Republicans. Look, but it's so obvious when you look at it logically. The left does not act in the interests of gay people.
Right.
Particularly in Orlando, making excuses for Islam, making excuses for terrorism. Every gay charity in America should be shut down after their response to Orlando.
Yes.
Because they have demonstrated they care nothing for the safety and security of gay people and only about pushing far left policies, on behalf of the Democrat Party and whoever the hell funds them.
And everyone, probably the people listening to this podcast, have read it or listened to it. But if you haven't, you cannot believe the media. You have got to read Donald Trump's speech after Orlando. It was
so great.
Pitch perfect. And
great.
people,
Great.
mutual friends of ours, although I'm not sure you've met him yet, but one lagging gay who was not solidly on the Trump train yet.
Yeah, because most of the rest of them are, frankly.
He's kind of a New York snob, and he knows exactly who I'm talking about. My next book is kind of pitched to those people. But he read it, and he said, and mostly he's just sending me snippy remarks about Trump. He said, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing speech I've ever read.
Well, after that, and after that speech, which you loved so much, and I remember that, after that speech, you started to get gay people sort of saying, they're going to hold their nose and vote for Trump because they've had 30 years of indoctrination by Democrats. Yeah. 30 years of being told that they have to be feminists. Why? Right. We don't even like women. We hate lesbians. Why would we be Democrats? Why would we be gay feminists? Are you insane? That's putting Hitler in charge of a museum of Jewish antiquity. Why would gays be feminists? That's it. That's completely nuts. God, it's just... Anyway. But you had people sort of saying, I don't like him, he's gauche, and he's blah, 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 but I'm going to reluctantly vote for this guy because he's the only person who's going to keep us safe. He's the only person who's speaking honestly and realistically about it's unsafe to be a gay person in America now. Why? Islam.
Yes.
It's not Christian bakers who say, we'd rather not send, 6 pepperoni pizzas to your lesbian nuptials. It's not them. They are not a threat to your safety, security, and happiness. They are not the ones, who are shooting up nightclubs. I mean, it's the lesbians who will be shooting up the nightclubs, not gays. Gay men, if you want to worry about something, arm yourselves. Don't go to gun-free zones because they're safe spaces for killers. And be aware, I'm sorry to say it, that when somebody's looking shifty and, is named Mohammed, get yourself out of there.
And Trump is right about that. I mean, in no state are you allowed to drink and carry, but you can go to a club. I mean, people bring designated drivers, not so much with Uber anymore, but people are familiar with the concept of designated driver. And a lot of our friends don't even drink. You don't drink because you're working on that svelte figure of yours.
I haven't drunk for a very long time.
So you have your friend who's not drinking be the one who carries. Yeah. But in clubs and bars, people should be allowed to carry, and you can't just have the security guard because then the Muslim just shoots the security guard.
Of course, but they know, you go to these gun-free zones, like an invitation to crazy people. Crazy people do not walk in to a school or a mall or even an army base, see a sign that says no firearms and say, oh, okay, then all right, I'll head off home.
Right.
This does not happen. They don't obey signage. These are insane people.
Exactly. But, shockingly, through their insanity, they do have a mission they want to pull off. I mean, the insanity is in wanting to kill lots of people. They do research and find the gun-free zones.
Of course.
I mean, that
where would you go if
shooter,
you wanted to do that? You'd go somewhere where you knew that no one was going to shoot back for 2 hours.
That Aurora
took them
shooter,
3 hours
was
to
it
get to
Batman,
Orlando.
I think, or Superman, whatever it was, that movie where he was dressed up as the Joker out in Aurora, Colorado. There were like 3 or 4 other movie theaters showing the same movie with bigger, better screens, closer to his home.
Yeah.
This was the one that had posted gun-free zones.
It's not a mystery. I want to return very briefly
to gays.
Yes, actually, because I want to dig down because I know people are going to be listening at home are going to be offended and interested by this real gays and fake gays.
Right.
Now, obviously, being gay is a choice.
I love that you say this. It slays me.
No, look, okay. For those who haven't heard me say this already, and those who don't know, let me just look. Born this way. And the whole last 30 years of gay culture, that is to say lies told to young gay boys about the fact that, this is just who you are and you can't, it's an invention. It's fiction. Has no basis in science.
First of all, I disavow these views completely.
In the 80s and 90s.
This is Milo speaking, not Anne.
It is a mixture of nature and nurture.
Oh, I agree with that.
That's all I'm saying.
I think there's a spectrum.
Of course. It's a mixture of nature and nurture, and every reputable scientist will say so. But what happened in the 80s and 90s, the religious right were saying this is a sinful lifestyle choice, right?
That's why they wanted to say it was 100% genetic.
Exactly. Love the sinner, hate the sin. So the gay lobby sort of said, I know, we could be like blacks or women.
Right.
This could just be what we are.
Right.
Then they can't discriminate against us.
Right.
Then they're bigots,
Everybody wants to be black.
Of course. Well,
immigrants, women.
Yes.
They all wanted, and that's a crucial point.
Really, it's only blacks that that are deserving of the phrase civil rights, which I know you've said many times on television.
Let's just start with that. And then the rest of you have to fight for your rights on your own, including my gender, your sexuality.
Get on with whatever you're doing.
You cannot go
Civil rights is for blacks, right? If the rest of you just
so clarifying.
Invent your own nonsense. Civil rights is for blacks. Anyway, I distinctly remember there being an element of choice in me deciding to be gay. It was becoming a coal burner. Mostly to annoy my mother. I wanted her to come. I would come up and sort of get me out of bed for school and to find like a black drug dealer in bed with me. That's what I wanted. I remember. And I just sort of. I feel like I just got stuck in a rut.
The face of Breitbart News. But wait a second, I thought the pattern was supposed to be, and I haven't done a lot of reading on this, but I thought the pattern was supposed to be that gays were close to their mothers and kind of an absent or distant father.
I don't know. Okay. I wasn't particularly close to
Obviously, you haven't done much reading on it either. You're living it.
Well, look, what I have. No, I have. You're mean. You're a mean lady. They were right about you. Every serious scientist on this will say it's a mixture of the two things.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
and telling
yeah.
people that it's, you're just born gay is simply not. There's no basis for that in science. None whatsoever.
Well, I don't think
So
it works anyway. I mean, I think your history is correct, but because I think I had an argument with a Christian about this he was admitting, he's very hardcore fundamentalist, but he was admitting it could be something in the womb, we think now.
Genetic, perhaps.
But he was really big on the exact same point you're making. He was saying, but it's dangerous to admit too much of that because then they say they're blacks. But I don't think it is dangerous because I am a heterosexual. I was definitely born a heterosexual, and I definitely want to have sex with men. Yeah. Okay, well, my religion says I'm not supposed to have sex with them until I'm married to them. That's exactly like gays.
Yes. Yeah. No. It is.
So it doesn't matter that I was born that way. There are a lot of things we have instincts to do. I mean, I'm sure married men would have an instinct to commit adultery. You don't do it for the moral reasons. I don't care that you were born wanting to have sex with lots of women. I don't care if I was born wanting to have sex with lots of men. No, the Christian teaching is, and I think a lot of that is. And I think if gays talk to Christians or if Christians talk to gays, they could work out a détente, because really what the Christian point is, if you would just always put it in terms of how would we want a heterosexual talking about this. So it's not so much no gay school teachers. We don't want a single school teacher telling her kids about how she's unmarried and living with her boyfriend.
Yeah. I kind of agree with you on that. What I find mystifying is, they've doubled down on this, being gay is genetic, being born this way. Well, they want to be careful with that, because if that's the case,
oh yes,
they're also fighting for abortions left.
Yep.
And so what's the group after blacks that Planned Parenthood is going to start aborting soon?
Oh yes.
The womb. That would be the gays.
I've been warning about that.
Or perhaps gene therapy, when that becomes available.
Right.
You have a baby that has a susceptibility to becoming a homosexual. People are going to cure it. There's going to be a gay cure. And all those pray that...
Absolutely.
Well, maybe they didn't work, but let me tell you, gene therapy...
Right. No, I warned about that when I was, and something very important I must set the record straight on, I was the first speaker ever to Go Proud. Right-wing gay group. I think it's defunct now. But anyway, when they were starting up...
They love you.
I know.
Gay icon.
I know. And I never knew why. But I just noticed them showing up at my book signings. That was in the heat of the gay marriage debate.
Yeah.
And what was my first speech to Go Proud?
No anti-gay marriage?
Talking them out of gay marriage. And by the way, as you will not be surprised to hear,
yes,
at least 70% of the crowd came up to me afterwards and whispered, I totally agree with you.
Of course.
I can't tell my boyfriend.
Of course.
But that was one of my arguments.
Gay marriage is a disaster. Gay people need to be on the fringes. They need to be naughty and dissident on the edges of society.
Exactly.
That's why we're so overrepresented in artists, inventors, all of these classes of people that push society and civilization and culture forward. Well, gays are able to do that because they don't have to pick up the kids at 5,
And the problem now that it's mainstream and they're picking up the kids at 5, that's why we get transgender bathrooms.
Exactly. And why gay culture is dead, basically. And gays should be a little bit more thankful for Christianity and a little bit more honest about how horrifying Islam is, because all of the best sex is transgressive and naughty and and forbidden. Well, maybe I'm speaking for myself, but I don't think I am. Gay culture.
I'm making no comment.
Gay culture needs Christianity because it's
right to make it fun.
Exactly, and specifically Catholicism, because without that, what's the point? Without that, you just...
That's a very insightful point.
It needs it because it's there's no dark without light, there's no heat without cold. Gay culture needs institutions to be dissident and exciting and to push the boundaries, the limits of acceptable thought and speech, and I love that.
You're absolutely right, and there were all these studies, which is a footnote in Godless. I made the point and have the footnote. Christianity is not only good for good sex for gays, it's for good sex for Christians. They've done studies on things like, I'm glad I'm just on a podcast right now. Here, put me on Good Morning America to say this. That Christians have the most, Christian women, most orgasms, most satisfaction from sex, and I think it's I presume assume it's the same reason that you are describing, because if you're just treating sex like going to a movie or going bowling, but if it's something like you say, you know, naughty, forbidden, I'm finally married, I can have sex whenever I want to.
It's amazing. Catholic guilt must have given people the best orgasms in the history of human civilization. I'm serious about this. Just as somebody raised Catholic.
Well, now it's fundamentalist Christians in this country. Catholics have given up their religion.
They have. Bishops now here are more concerned with climate change than God. Talk about diversity and climate change.
By the way, have you noticed, I'm sorry, we're jumping around so much. Have you noticed they will not bring up global warming with Donald Trump?
Oh, they won't. No, they won't.
They know he will destroy that too. Just don't mention it in front of him.
That's interesting because I think they realize that he's winning on immigration. He's winning on trade. He's taking people with him. So the smart thing to do, if you don't want that little pet project, that little thing that you love so much that you have bullied everybody into believing, regardless of, you've hectored and nannied and language policed everybody into saying they believe whether they do or not, whether they even care about it or not. If you want to keep that fragile, precious flower, that's the food that cannot be broken, don't put it in front of Donald Trump.
Yep. No, we finally have a presidential candidate who's like you and me, unbullyable.
Yes, anti-fragile, they call it.
Anti-fragile.
Anti-fragile. That's what they call it in the internet. Like if you're like social justice proof. Right?
Yes.
If you don't work for a big company, you can say whatever the hell you want. You have success and fans and confidence enough to just do whatever you want. They can't get you.
Well, I worked for big companies. I just kept getting fired.
Me too.
MSNBC like 5 times. I started with them, No, I didn't get the gene that makes me care about what people around me are saying.
No, one of the many things we have in common. Yes. Lovely hair color and
liking boys. And probably the same underwear.
No, probably not.
Nothing lacy.
What I wear would be flashing on you. This has been wonderful.
Thank you, Milo.
I'm glad that you were my first re-invited guest.
And I was your first guest, wasn't I?
You were my first guest. You're my first guest and the first one back, and still all-time favorite. And after this,
and we're going to start a college tour.
Well, yeah, I'm going to invite Anne. This is breaking news that you will only hear here. Anne is going to be joining me. We're going to work out the dates. We're going to work out some things you can do. Anne's going to be joining me on some of the dates on the Dangerous Faggot tour, which you might have to reword the name. Well, you don't have to suspend the name of the tour for your appearances. We'll just call it, two blondes, one Trump or something. Anne is going to be appearing at some of my college dates. My tour starts again in September. Anne, tell us about your new book, where people can keep an eye out for it, and then I think we're going to have to reluctantly bring it here.
Yeah, well, I'm going to have to come right back here I'm going to have to come back to LA as soon as it comes out. I'm starting in New York, I think, just because that's where I live most of the time. In Trump We Trust, E Pluribus Awesome. It's a fantastic book. It's geared toward people who are having doubts, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, but I understand them because until he came out with his immigration position, I would have been one of them. But I think it makes good arguments, and it's fun and it's funny, and Trump is a lot of fun, and it comes out August 23rd. So I think you can order it now on Amazon, but as you know, I just taped the audiobook last week. I still have the last edits to do.
Anne's own voice.
Whole book.
The whole book, reading it yourself.
Yes.
You can probably find it on Amazon too.
Yes.
Later, maybe.
August 23rd, and we'll talk about it when it comes out. But it's vicious about a lot of people. You will be surprised. I think my publisher was surprised, since normally I'm going after the left.
Yes.
I'm not going after the left in this book, Milo. They're hopeless. Who cares? This is 100%.
And how could you?
This is 100% against our people. Our ex-people, whoever knew.
Ann Coulter turning her fire on her former calling out Republicans as she sees them. It sounds like something that you should not miss. Ann Coulter, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Milo.
Thank you. You've been listening to the Milo Yiannopoulos Show.